The approach. The fragile reed boat had fulfilled its purpose, and rested wearily upon the sandy beach. The shoreline resounded with the steady rhythmic crashing of wave upon wave. Seabirds circled constantly, filling the air with their haunting call as they searched for silver glints of fish in the rippling waters below. In the distance loomed the shapes of enormous mountains, standing as silent sentinels. The jagged peaks cast mysterious shadows which revealed powerful and awesome glimpses into the guardian spirits of this strange land. Our travelers finished preparing their supplies for the long trek ahead of them. There was a little to check with them, for scant remained after their long time at sea. Then, bidding farewell to the now water-lodged boat, they began striding through the sun towards the beckoning majesty of the mountains. The coast sun soon gave way to rocks, then the small rocks yielded to larger ones until they had climbed up and over what appeared to be one huge sheet of stone pitted with small holes in which water and marine life had collected themselves into miniature worlds. The peaks ahead gleamed with a coppery glint reflected from the sun. They were now moving upon a rocky ledge on which a lone tree defiantly grew, pushing its life force up to the smallest of cracks. Curious, is it not, how sometimes the strongest of trees seem to grow in the most difficult of places, while the trees which use an easy environment often do not grow as hardy or as old. Near the tree the ledge widened out and there stood an upright stone slab carved with the symbol of the sun above the crescent moon. Both of them stopped to look at it with amazement. "Altazar," Solana whispered reverently. "This is the symbol of the ancient kingdom of An." Altazar looked up at the mountains which towered above them. "Yes, this must be the answers. The copper-covered mountains of which our legends speak." He gazed keenly at Solana's shining face, which was filled with wonder. Then the understanding came to him. My friend are one of those bound secretly in service to the ancient god An, are you not?" "Yes, Altazar, that is true, but to be here near the kingdom of An is beyond my wildest dreams. I knew not if An still existed on the physical plane." Solana stood straight and tall and raised his arms high to the sun, chanting in an unknown tongue. "Homage to thee, O An of Ants! Who doth stride across the sky, bringing balance of sun and moon, melding the four directions into one, uniting all opposites, completing and beginning in a single breath, O An of Ants, complete one. As the hand is to the moon, as the rays to the sun, I surrender myself to you in total loving service, that there shall be separation no more, that all may know an union into oneness." Meanwhile, holding a crystal to the sun, Altazar lit a small piece of copper and placed it respectfully at the base of the rock. He then began to explore their surroundings, finding a small stone path which disappeared behind some nearby cliffs. "We are well guided," thought he, probably expecting somewhere as well. How often have life surprises been already known to others? Escaped the hermit. Solana approached him quietly and gestured eagerly towards the pathway. "Come, Altazar," smiled fondly, "let us discover your land of An." The rocky trail was narrow and steep, but fairly secure. Nevertheless, our travellers proceeded carefully. Soon they had climbed high up the side of the ridge and grew weary from the dizzy heights and change of altitude. The sun was now beginning to set over the ocean, a blinding sea of molten oranges, golds, and reds, stretching to the far horizon. "Altazar, look at the sun!" Solana exclaimed, and began to sing in a voice filled with a plenty of nostalgia. In the dawn of time, the sun was born of the lake. It arose a fiery red glow and cast upon the waters a flaming path of streaming light, leaving a mirrored reflection of itself in the lake, for men to follow. The sun that we see in the sky above us is but that reflection from the waters of time. It is our beacon to aspire to. Beyond our sun or moon or this world itself is the true sun, glowing ever brighter, waiting for our return. And till that moment follow the golden path through the ripples, it shall lead us home. They stood silently for a time, lost in contemplation. Then Altazar stirred himself and asked, "Think you that if we can find the kingdom of Arn, that they will not offer faster way to get us to Atlantis?" If anyone on this planet other than our people or the Atlanteans themselves have this knowledge, they surely will, Solana answered confidently. Well then, let us proceed and try to find them. The path took a sharp turn around yet another rock ledge, and they found themselves staring at the mouth of a hollowed-out cavern, a good stopping place for the night. Altazar observed. Solana nodded his agreement. And indeed, it must have been foreordained, because they soon discovered in the back of the cave a stack of finely woven wool blankets and clay pots full of wood and fresh water. Again Altazar had that strange premonition of being watched over. It did not seem to make him uneasy, however, simply a little curious at the mysteries of this unknown land. They slept deeply that night and awoke refreshed and eager to be on their way. The climb pots once again held fresh food and drink. Eating silently, they marveled at the persistent presence of unseen forces. Then they proceeded upon their trek. The path led ever upwards. The small stream joined it, and the canyon walls on either side grew steep and narrow until they walked one behind the other. Altazar led the way carefully. He felt increasingly like a new person, and less like the High King of Arnhem. Much had been dropping away after this thinking of all that he had known and loved, and with the many miles that he had distanced himself from his memories. He found more all as long as he allowed himself to forget what had been and what was no longer. The sound of water crashing over a cataract brought him back from his musings. A waterfall of about 20 feet in height was in front of them. The pounding water washed away the reminder of his broken memories. As the way ahead became impossible, it was necessary for them to climb up the wall of stone at the waterfall's edge in order to continue on. When they had reached the top, they noticed that the pathway once again followed the course of the stream, interrupting itself only to detour around other yet taller cascades of sparkling water. Finally, they decided to stop for a while and bath in the cool clearness of the pools underneath one of the falls. Pulling off their garments, each got into adjoining rock basins. The water was very soothing as they submerged themselves and began to relax. Altazar closed his eyes and felt the warmth of the sun on his face and the coolness of the water on his tired body. Letting go his thoughts, he began drifting away, melting into the water. Suddenly the face of a woman appeared to him, her head wrapped in a silky white cloth so that only her eyes could be seen. They were incredible eyes, large and green, which shone with the light of far-seeing wisdom. They were eyes which saw through and beyond the veils of time and space. looking deeply into his very soul as though scanning the Akashic records of his being, she spoke thus to him. Altazar, my greetings to you. I bring you a message from the place of silence. I am the one known as the Hermit of the Crystal Mountain. You must find your way there. It is where true healing for you shall be found. However, note that the crystal mountain can only be entered in your crystal body of light. This you must develop. I shall ever be awaiting you there. Looking at him with an aura which penetratingly radiated all-encompassing love, she continued, when you arise from these waters, you will find a magenta poncho waiting for each of you. Wield this with respect, for they shall be as shields for you. They will protect you when you least expect it and when your need is greatest. I am giving a conch shell trumpet to Solana. He will know when to sound its call. It shall serve him well. For you, I leave a special crystal. The knowledge encoded within its hidden spiral will guide you back into yourself at the appropriate time. It is a mirrored reflection of your purest essence, a small shard of the star. My dearest brother, the time of testing approaches. Remember what I have told you, and you shall have nothing to fear. Forget not the crystal mountain. No matter how long your journey, no matter what you have undergone, I shall not forget you and will await you there. Once again her eyes pierced deeper into him, filling his very essence with love and tenderness. Then she slowly faded from sight. Altazar remained quietly in the pool of water as her words repeated themselves throughout his consciousness. He sought to remember them all, to sear them into his memory, but they slowly slipped further and further into the unreachable depths of his unconscious despite his fervent efforts. A call from Solana caused him to return to this reality. Altazar, come here and see what I have found upon the grass. He held aloft a conch shell of smoothest white. A delicately woven strap was attached at both ends so that it could be worn around the neck. There is the mark of An carved into this shell, he exulted. Altazar also saw the two ponchos of radiant magenta lying neatly folded onto the grass. Solana, I must share with you the vision I had while I was lying in the pool. Altazar quietly remarked. A woman appeared in a vision to me, some sort of spirit woman. She was all wrapped up in a white cloth so that I could barely see her features, except for her eyes. I shall never forget those penetrating green eyes. They seemed to be from another world. They saw everything. This woman called herself the Hermit of the Crystal Mountain. Something about her was very familiar. I felt as if I recognized her, although I'm certain that I knew her not in memoria. She told me many wondrous things, that the conch shell is for you and the punches are for some sort of protection in a time of testing. If only I could remember exactly what she told me. She did say something about how I must find my way to Crystal Mountain to receive healing. Know you where that is? Solana inquired with rising excitement. No, I have no idea, replied Altazar, while the words in a new land flashed into his mind. Picking up his poncho, he discovered a shining quartz crystal of radiant clarity tucked within its folds. With a amused smile, Tsa placed it inside the folds of his sarong. Tossing the ponchos over their shoulders, they continued on their way once again until at last the sun began to set. Then they were pleased to discover a small stone hut set into the rock walls of the steep canyon. It was becoming increasingly difficult to determine if this was man-made or natural. Stonework was excellent, but no more charcoal could be found. The rocks of varying sizes and shapes fitted perfectly together. Entering the hut, they discovered the almost expected pile of colorful woolen blankets and the clay pots full of food and drink. This is indeed a strange and mysterious land, thought Solana. He had not known such intense excitement before. He felt himself propelled towards some fantastic destiny, which was impossible to deduce in advance. They could only surrender to it as it chose to reveal itself in the present. Our two travelers hurried and prepared their beds, each placing a magenta poncho over himself. Even though their minds abounded with questioning thoughts, they soon sank deeply into sleep.